Believe it or not, everything you've seen, heard, experienced, or maybe even smelled with pigs is not always true. You'll hear people say things like pigs don't stay in fences. Pigs don't stay in electric fences. They're aggressive, they're angry, they eat their own feces, and many, many others. I guess these pigs don't know that they're not supposed to stay in an electric fence. The biggest misconception about pigs, though, is that they're filthy animals, they stink. There is no way to avoid that stench. And I know a lot of people who want pigs, but they're concerned about the smell, or their neighbors are concerned about the smell, or their family members are concerned about the smell. You can raise pigs without them stinking, and you don't have to take my word for it. I've got some visitors that'll show up in a little bit and tell you what they smell. In fact, when I first got pigs, my mother and dad were not excited at all. In fact, my mother was adamant, pigs are nasty, filthy, smelly animals. You could not convince her of anything else. My dad was a little more reserved, but he thought the same thing. And in their defense, they had a neighbor that had a pig that stank to high heavens because it was kept in horrible living conditions. Now let me be clear about two things. First, roses don't come out of pigs' backsides. They do have manure, and it doesn't smell any better than yours or mine. But when managed properly, it's not as filthy. You see, most people are used to keeping pigs in small, confined spaces where their manure is not dealt with in an appropriate way, and because of that, there's a stench. The same thing will happen with any animal, even people. If there's that much manure, if there's that much waste in a small space, and if it's not treated properly, it can be devastatingly nasty smelling. We've been raising pigs for nearly 7 years now. And even though pigs can stink, I'm not gonna lie about it. For the most part, if they're managed well, you should not have any problems. It's all in the management. You see, you can raise pigs on pasture, like I'm doing out here on this part of our farm, and by rotating the pigs frequently, not only do we cut down on the pest and parasite issues, we also deal with the manure management. You see, by raising our pigs on pasture, harvesting their manure, keeping them sanitary and smelling fine, but we're also able to transform our worst performing pastures like this one here behind me that are full of broom sedge, cypress weed, dog fennel, goldenrod, and many other weeds that are not edible. And then we turn them into highly productive pastures that produce a world of a lot of food, not only for soil life, but also for our pigs to eat. Let me show you what I mean. We moved that group of breeder pigs that I just fed 2 weeks ago off the pasture that I'm standing in right now. It's not performing great, but it is already performing much better than it did before we moved them. A little over a month ago, I moved the pigs off the paddock I'm standing in now. And what you see is buckwheat starting to go to seed, daikon radish, sorghum sudan grass, a little cereal rye, and yes, some weeds, but this is becoming a wildly productive pasture for our pigs. Even though it's not the most nutrient-rich manure out there, pig manure has this potential to transform soil health in ways that you would not believe. That's why, instead of using manure and crap and worse words as cuss words, I think we need to start using them as words of praise and transformation. But putting 10, 15, 20, even 50 pigs on an acre of ground and moving them every week or two, of course, that's going to limit the smell. But is there a way to keep pigs in more confined spaces that keep the smells down? I've got some pigs in a small pen that I need to go feed and water. Let me take you over there as I do that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. The water's going in the tank. Time to go feed them. This is the 4,000 square foot pen where I train pigs to the electric fence. A few days ago, I cleaned over 60 cubic yards of material out of here, droppings from manure, wood chips, and everything else that the pigs had deposited over the last 2 years. And I just pulled 35 piglets out of here. I've got 3 little ones in here now, but I've had as many as 45 200-pound pigs in here for several weeks, and they produce a lot of manure. My kids were over here playing on bales of hay at the time while I was moving stuff out with a tractor. And then after I put my hand in it to show people what it looked like after it came out of the pen, and my dad asked me about it, and several friends called me and said, "You're really letting your pigs play in all that pig manure?" Well, it's not quite pig manure, it's composted pig manure. You see, this is a deep mulch bedding system. I put another 40 yards of wood chips in here. There are several bales of hay, and I'll add more hay in here as well. Most of it's bad mulch hay, but I'll add more in here as the pigs continue to live, poop, urinate, and everything else in here. It keeps everything sanitary. Now, even though I initially stocked this with wood chips, I've run out of them. But now that I've got a good base layer of firm material that'll help water drain and aerate what's in here, I'll use a lot of mulch hay, leaves, pine straw, and anything else I can find. In fact, you can see the remnants of the brown paper bags that we use. No plastic or anything like that, just paper and cotton strings in these bags. And they'll break down into beautiful compost as well. It saves either burning them or trying to pile them up for the garbage truck. And I've used some sawdust, planter shavings, any kind of carbon-based material. The drier it is, the better. It helps capture the moisture. It helps capture the nitrogen, binds to the carbon and helps it decompose. It captures those nutrients, especially the volatile nutrients in the pig manure, and helps break down the compostable materials as well. In fact, even when it's dry, even the pen doesn't even smell like pig manure. You hardly smell it. If you don't believe me, but you don't have to take my word for it, I've asked some others to help me out. Here's the 45, 55 cubic yard pile of material that we got out of the pig pen. I'm gonna ask everybody that I can to come up in here, stick their hand in the pile just like this until they find a moist spot like that, hold it up to their nose. I've got Chris Woolley, a farm favorite. He's gonna stick his hand inside there till he finds a moist spot, pull it out and tell me what it smells like.
All right, there we go. We got a little something here.
Yeah?
A little warm still, even. A little warm. Actually kind of smells like pine, maybe cedar. That's what I'm getting out of it.
But it doesn't smell like pig crap.
It don't. Definitely does not.
There you have it. I've got one of the neighbors at the farm, Russell over here. He lives right next to the farm. You know what you need to do, Mr. Russell?
I think so. In the pile.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you're looking for, all right?
Yeah.
Like grab something like that right there
Okay.
and tell me what it smells like.
Smells like dirt to me.
You heard it. It smells like dirt. All right, Charlotte, you try it. Tell us what it smells like. Charlotte already knows what it is.
Dirt.
The piles of pig manure compost smell like dirt, not pig fertilizer. When Mr. Russell realized that was pig manure compost, we decided to come out to the pig pen to see if pig manure smells like pig manure. Well, Mr. Russell, does that smell like dirt?
No, it smells like something that came out of that pig over there.
It smells like crap, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
So for the record, his smeller works. It's not that he can't smell pig manure, it's just that pig manure, when composted, does not smell like manure. How bad is the pig manure smell, Mr. Russell?
Well, on a scale of between 1 and 10, I would give it about a 5. Compared to dog mess would be right up around 10.
There you have it from an unbiased perspective. A neighbor who lives close to the pig farm and could smell it if it was horrible stench. So there you have it. People thought it smelled like dirt. It smelled like pine or evergreen something, but they didn't smell any manure at all. You can manage pigs well, you can manage them in small environments even, and still keep the smells down. Plus, you can produce a lot of compost.